Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are looking at Chapter 6, Section 4, Compound Inequalities, using the word "and." So what these are going to look like is they're inequalities that have two inequalities put together. And so we've got three different examples here. We've got 0 is less than or equal to x is less than 4. So how we can break this up is we can break this up into two separate inequalities, and they're combined using the word "and." We have 0 is less than or equal to x, and x is less than 4. Now, what we can do from this point is we've talked about how we do not like the 0 coming first. So we can flip this entire inequality. We have 0 is greater than x, or x is greater than or equal to 0, and x is less than 4. So what we can do with this now, and this is exactly what this is saying, okay? And what we can do from here is we can now graph this on the same graph. And so how we graph this is we graph this first one over here on the left-hand side. So I've got a dot at 0, and it's filled in because it's greater than or equal to. We have it shaded to the right, and then we've got another dot at 4. This one's an open circle because it doesn't have the or equal to. It's shaded to the left, and we can see that the shadings are going to overlap because they're going to go left and right. So we only shade what's in the middle from here. And so what this is saying is this number x has to be between 0 and 4 in order for it to work. Okay, so let's take a look at the second example. We have -2 is less than y, and that's less than 9. So when we break this down into our two inequalities, we have -2 is less than y, and y is less than 9. We flip our first inequality. We have the second one there that stays the same. So now we can graph these two things on the same number line. Y is less than -2, so that's -2, open circle, or greater than, sorry, greater than -2. There. We have 9, open circle, and it's shaded to the left there, so we have our shading in the middle, like so. And then our final example, we've got 4 is less than n, which is less than or equal to 15. That's going to give us n is greater than 4, and n is less than or equal to 15, breaking it up into two inequalities there. So that we have an open circle at 4, we have a closed circle at 15. You only need the circles, only need the two lines. I don't need anything else as long as they're good there. We have our shading in the center. Okay, so now what we can also do is we can also solve compound inequalities. So now we're going to get -2 is less than x plus 2, which is less than or equal to 4. And so what we see here is now we have an inequality, but now the x is not by itself. So we're going to break this up into two inequalities again. We have -2 is less than x plus 2, and we have x plus 2 is less than or equal to 4. So now we're going to solve each one individually. So we're going to -2 minus 2. It's going to give us -4 is less than x, which we know is x is greater than -4. And we solve here, we -2, we -2. We have x is less than or equal to 2. So we have these two inequalities now that we're going to graph on the same number line. So we have -4 here, open circle. closed circle at 2, and the shading goes in the middle. All shadings with compound inequalities with and in them go in the center. Okay, and then let's take a look at the last one. We have -3 with less than or equal to 2y plus 1, and that's less than or equal to 5. So we're going to break this down again. And now this becomes just simply two-step solving inequalities that we've worked for in section 3. So we're going to subtract 1 here. So that's going to give us -4 is less than or equal to 2y. Then we're going to divide by 2. And we get -2 is less than or equal to y. We flip that around to get our inequality that we'll end up graphing. We go through the same process here. -1, -1. We have 2y is less than or equal to 4. We're going to divide by 2. So y is less than or equal to 2. So our graph's going to go from -2 to +2. Both closed circles. Shading goes in the middle. And that's where we're at. Okay, so that's compound inequalities using the word and. So we're going to break it down into 2 different inequalities and then go from there. Okay, make sure you rewatch this video if you have any more questions, and make sure you're writing down these notes. Watch these examples as much as you possibly can, and have a good day.